Broadcasting live, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars.
I like to smoke them like Sir Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. Your host, Honest Abe here, KMA Talk Radio, with my trusty sidekicks, the Italian scallion, Paul DeCacco.
Hey.
What's up, Paulie? And where's our other?
Are you ever going to say my name right?
What? Paul
DeCacco? Are you ever going to say my name right? DeGracco. You call me DeCacco every time.
That's not a mistake.
Intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the southpaw from South Philly himself, Alex Tavella.
Good morning. And he said my name right for the first time.
You make me stutter now every time I say it. I got to think about it.
He questions
I figured
himself?
eventually I would just guilt you into saying my name right.
So we had a good night last night. We had the Ninjarago release. Holy cow, what a firestorm that thing was. 38 minutes.
Insane.
I couldn't believe that. I popped in at one point and I saw that it was sold out. I was like, whoa.
38 minutes. So that could be the fastest selling release I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it was like, 100 bundles. I mean, it was like
450, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't it.
There were 6-count bundles, which really helped the cause and kind of made it easier pickup for people, Guys have a hard time buying into a 24-count or something they've never had before, But still, kudos to the dojo team, Eric and Jordan over there, and Hoya de Nicaragua and Drew Estate. What a extremely successful project, and everybody seems to be very excited to get their cigars and their Ninja Stars. I'm waiting to see what the first accidents get posted on Facebook with the Ninja Stars.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'm sure somebody will do something.
It's so cool.
I'm picking Paul up for dinner tonight. I'm going to go to his house and bring his kids 2 Ninja Stars. Here you go.
It'll just add to my injuries that I've gotten this week.
What the hell? Who injures themselves in the point? Did you pick up a hot kettle?
No, so
wait. Did that go through?
It didn't go all the way through.
Oh.
You could see like a bruise on the other side, but
What
I'll
did
take
you
it
do?
off later. But so my sons have been getting Christmas gifts in the mail, and my wife doesn't care about opening them on Christmas. So one of these days when I was having a busy work day, I look outside and she's putting together like a mini trampoline for the boys.
So she
I'm like,
opens
that's
up
for Christmas.
She opens up Christmas gifts right away.
Yeah. So I was like, that's for Christmas. Let's save that for Christmas morning. That's something we could do. And she's like, no. They got so much stuff coming already. So she put the whole thing together and she couldn't get the screw. These things, I don't know if you've ever put together a trampoline, but it is a nightmare. Like these guys that charge $100 or $150 to put them together, it is worth it. So
Dude,
the screws don't go in right.
Trampolines and barbecue grills. Pay to have somebody put them together.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Well, barbecues I always do.
Always.
I'm afraid to blow up. So yeah, so Wes, you're exactly right. So I was trying to screw the screw through 2 of the poles, and it wasn't going in. So I had the screw gun really hard, and I was holding it too low, and the nail from the screw gun went right into my palm. It was pretty fun.
That would have been
Pretty
right
exciting.
at the point where I would have said, to hell with the trampoline. It's done. We're not doing it unless we find somebody to go.
I would have
Dude, it
torched
was
it.
90%.
Yeah, it would have been
done.
over.
It was 90%
I would have torched
done.
it.
I walked away from it.
I don't put bikes together. I don't do barbecue grill. There's just certain things I won't even mess with. Anything from IKEA, never happening.
Oh, yeah.
Call the guy. I ain't building none of that now, Eli says.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, that was the fun and excitement here.
Let me guess. You put up a whole bunch of lights, too.
I did. I may have a picture of it. I put a lot of lights on the front of my house.
You
so,
know, Labby, who works with us,
yeah.
does this big ordeal every year.
He did a big ordeal.
Oh,
He
really?
does it every year. It's like
Oh, yeah.
it's like a monstrosity, and he puts
Yeah.
it up. I think like right before Thanksgiving, even. And I just can't see myself ever putting that much effort for something that's got to come down in 30 days.
Does he put up does he do like a walkthrough type thing?
Dude, blow ups, 2 floors. I mean, it's on the roof.
I'll see if I could find the picture. I'll send it to you, Paul. I mean, he really does like an ordeal.
Really? I want to see, man. I have a buddy that does the same thing.
And, these guys, they spend a week putting lights up, and then like 4 weeks, they got to take them down.
You got to take it all down. I don't even like taking down the tree, let alone an entire house.
So how much?
So do you not do any Christmas lights?
My wife.
I know, but Abe doesn't.
My wife insists on. She goes out and she hangs a couple icicles from the first floor thing and a wreath around. It keeps it really simple and around all the low bushes around the house. But
I mean, because your neighborhood has a lot. I was there the other day, and you have a lot of your neighbors do a lot of stuff.
So why do we need ours? It's like every other house.
I don't know. I have the picture, but I want to block out the
put it
license
up.
Plates. I don't want to.
What license?
The license plates. What do you think? Someone's
I
gonna
have the
stalk
cars
you?
in the driveway.
Get out of here!
I sent you the picture. What are you looking at?
Paul's looking at his own picture.
Oh, I was going at my picture. Oh, let's see what.
This is Labby's picture I sent you.
Oh, Labby's is pretty good. That's pretty good. I would say I'm on par with Labby.
That's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of work.
I mean, that's not insane. I'll
So
put
if
it
you're
up
watching the show, post up lights or no lights at your house. I'm curious.
Yes.
Alex, you don't do anything?
No, I mean we do inside the house a little bit. Well, Marissa, my girlfriend, does inside the house. I don't really deal with that stuff. But whatever, as long as it doesn't get in my way and I don't have to, spend 8 hours taking something down, I'm okay with it.
My wife does the Halloween. She does the Easter. She does the Christmas.
But I mean, if that's the deal you have, that's her thing. That's fine.
What
All right, here we go.
I was gonna say. What are you on? Speed?
I'm sorry. It takes
dial up.
No, it takes a while. It's hard to explain how this works, but when it uploads them, you have to convert them into a different file format.
A lot of likes up from our fans.
Convert what? I don't know. I had like 6 pictures up yesterday, fired up and ready to go.
But are you taking them from a text message?
Yeah, of course.
So,
I'll show you.
So Vince.
Right, here we go. Here's Labby's house.
Oh, that's a lot less than normal this year.
But still, I mean, it's
really?
still.
Yeah. He had a whole second things and things on the roof last year.
Here's my house.
Yours is not even close to Labby's.
No, not even close.
What are you talking about?
It's not even in the same stratosphere.
Same thing.
Get out of here.
You got one little wreath on the house.
What the hell's the matter with you? You see all the lights in the bushes?
You don't even have one
bush. You didn't even have to get on a ladder, but except
you didn't even have one blow
yes,
up.
I did. I don't believe in blow ups. That's why I don't like blow ups.
Wait, what does this mean? You don't believe?
Cheap. They're cheap. I don't like them. I don't like the way they look. I think that they're they don't take any effort. I don't like the way they look.
So how does everybody? How does everybody? Yeah, dude, you're not on the same level. Not even close.
No, it's not even close.
I mean, listen, I'm not doing. I'm not trying to compete with anybody.
So Vince wants to know, and I think it's a good question. How do you feel about those now? The projection lights.
I don't like those either. Especially that's the lazy man's.
Right.
That's
the lazy man's projected on the house.
Christmas lights.
The smart man's.
Especially the laser ones.
Me.
Somebody gave me. I have one. Somebody gave it to me years ago, and I've never used it. But yeah, those are the lazy man's. I mean, maybe when I was like 90, maybe when I'm like in my 90s and I still want to put Christmas lights up, I'll pop one of those in the ground and let it.
I want to put one in my bathroom so I can just turn off the lights when I take a long break.
Right.
No, you gotta get the glow bowl so it lights up the room with different colored lights. It lights up the bowl
toilet
itself.
bowl.
Yeah, I had one, but it died because too many people pissed on it. But they're not expensive. They're like $19.
And it lights up the toilet.
Yeah, it's great. And for your son, too, Alex, it's great because in the middle of the night, it's motion detected. So when you walk by it, it turns on and you can have it set to change the toilet bowl, different colors and stuff. It's called Glow Bowl. I think it's Kevin Harrington's company. At my day job, we actually used to advertise it on online.
And where does it sit?
As you can see, the shirt I'm wearing today.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got a big release coming up. Hold on. Let me zoom in on you.
Yes.
If I can.
I don't know what shirt Alex is wearing.
There you go.
I don't have.
When is the actual release? Monday?
Shirts.
I like that box
Release
too.
is Wednesday.
Wednesday at noon.
Dude, you know what? I still have never had one of the original ones. And
Really?
yeah, and when I went to buy a bundle, they were gone. So I will be online buying a bundle of those.
Look at
Because
this.
I like a box press too. So I'm sorry, meat box press.
This is a sexy looking cigar.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It really is. Look at this.
I bet it feels like soft touch, like almost fuzzy.
It does. It's like velvet almost.
That's my kind of cigar, man.
This is a really sexy, good looking cigar.
And that's a good size. It's not too big.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. If you think Nicaragua went fast, you better be ready at 12 noon on Wednesday.
I think so too. I got caught blindsided last time, so and I work for Abe.
Well, I still have some Red Meat Lovers Club in this humidor.
Oh, really? All right, I got to try one of the original ones versus the old one.
Unbelievable.
But that's exciting, man.
Well,
all these releases are awesome.
Well, it's been a holiday month for sure with all the things that have been dropping this month. So it'll be very cool to see. I mean, this was originally supposed to drop in November, but with the hurricanes and everything that Steve had going on in Nicaragua, it got here, and we're going to drop it next week. And also, we're going to be the first event where we're giving away the 2 to 3 foot giant Sasquatch.
2 to 3 foot. Oh, is that?
Well, it was originally called the 3 foot one, and
stipulation?
then after verification process, it ends up only being a 2 foot Sasquatch. Still an impressive statue.
Still an impressive statue for sure.
There was a great picture of Evan Darnell from the Red Meat Lovers Club holding it at the Boynton location the other day over his head, like he's lifting.
Yeah, he thought he was going to come here yesterday and get some Red Meat Lovers Club early.
He tried.
Nope, didn't happen. We were boxing.
Oh, good, Craig. You're off Wednesday, so you can you have all day to wait for the event.
That's right.
We were boxing them yesterday, and I tell you, we're going to post a video of it because Alex took a great video. Man, our guy that was boxing it, I don't know if anybody's ever seen that pizza box commercial where the guy's
yes,
dude,
flipping it.
He was boxing them like not that fast, but literally like it was like good. I said, Alex, did you speed this up? He goes, no, that's how he was boxing them. So.
That's awesome. Oh, so they came flat, so you had to fold each one.
We made the boxes on our end. Saka didn't want to be bothered with packaging. So
sounds about right.
We made the boxes on our end, so we got the packages in cellophane bundles, which we then put in the boxes and then sealed up with our microblend.
Were they printed already, or are all those stickers that are put on?
No. The whole box is printed.
Okay. I was just making sure.
We fold it up, and then we have the seal that we use on all our microblends.
I like that box, though. I think that's really cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. That's a cool thing, man.
So yeah, it drops on the 9th, so that should be interesting.
Yep, Paul had a visitor. He bounced out real quick.
I tried to jump out so she didn't go on camera.
You got caught.
I lost my banner. I broke my banner this morning because of my injured hand, I think. I wasn't able to put it upright, and it flew back in my face and snapped into 2 pieces. So I need a new banner.
You're not much of the self-home improvement guy, are you?
Dude, I'm a tinkerer. I don't claim to be a handyman, but I'm having a hard time here lately. I don't know, maybe it's being home too much.
I am admittedly not the handyman of the house.
Who is? Your wife?
Brandy. Brandy will put a bike together. Brandy will put a barbecue grill together. Brandy will put an IKEA table together. She's just good at it. She's got the tolerance for it, man. As soon as I get aggravated, I'd be screw this. Hey, let me tell you something.
See, I do all that.
Just get? Oh, I got wire rack. I got metal rack shelving for the garage. I put in last week. Okay, and you figure you see these pictures. Oh, it's easy. You get these bars. You sit on. You ever even see the manuals or directions that come with some of this
Oh,
stuff?
so confusing.
It's in nowhere anywhere conducive to understanding how to put anything together. It's mind blowing. And now, like the one I got with the shelving, no words, just diagrams,
Pictures and
arrows,
right.
and it looks like my 8-year-old do the drawings. Yeah.
That's because everything is mass marketed for the globe, so they don't want to put 18 different languages on it.
I'm the guy.
IKEA's the worst. IKEA's the worst. The second you tighten a screw too hard on an IKEA thing, it goes right through that particle board, and the thing's ruined.
And it's done. Right.
Every single time. There's always a corner on every piece of furniture we have in this house. There's always a corner that's cracked.
That chipped off crack. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Every single piece of furniture in this house has that.
And it always sounds good.
So do you have a big tool set?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I
have two toolboxes.
I mean, not a big tool set, but I have a nice drill and screw gun, which pretty much gets just about everything done.
See, Paul, your all your tools will start disappearing in about a year or two.
Oh no, he wants them now already.
I'm telling you, you can have like that 400-piece set in your garage, and after the kids get old enough where they realize where it is and how to get to it, it becomes a 12-piece set.
So we have to hang. I have those Ryobi like battery operated power tools, like a blower, a hedge trimmer, and things like that. And he's obsessed with the leaf blower. So we hang it up high so he can't get it. But when I take it down to use it, he's all over that thing. He knows how to put the battery in. He'll walk around until the lithium battery is dead. It takes like an hour or two. He stands there in the driveway blowing leaves away. He's obsessed with it. And he always asks for it. So somebody bought him a little kid version, but it doesn't blow as hard as the big one. So he doesn't like it now. He's like, no, I want the real one. I want the real one, Daddy.
He knows Daddy's blows hard.
Oh boy,
Richie.
Wow, there's a lot of people commenting today. People are active this morning. We were up. I don't know about you guys, but we were up early to get a toy from Walmart that is impossible.
I saw Stephanie post. What is the matter with you people?
What toy? I've never done that in my life for anything.
Yeah.
So your son's too old now. It's called
regardless.
Cocomelon. It's Cocomelon. It's the YouTube sensation. They have the most hits on any videos.
You know that you're getting a toy for you, not your kids, right?
Has nothing. I didn't go, but we bought 5 of them, so they're for sale if anybody wants them. They're online for like $160. No, we're not. We're gonna we got some for friends that couldn't get them, and we're gonna donate a couple of them as well. The Red Meat Lovers Club has a nice little toy drive going where kids ask for specific toys. So I'm waiting to see if a kid asks for it, and we'll donate it there. But yeah, my wife was up at 6:00 this morning and drove to Walmart so that she could get him.
Your wife was up, or you were up, so you didn't partake?
I didn't go. No, if she wanted to go, she wanted to go. So
Stephanie happily does the things that she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done the stand in line for hours thing for anything.
I would never stand in line.
No, she didn't stand in line. She didn't stand in line. We don't stand in line. We don't do that crap.
I mean, you were there at 6 a.m.
Like I'm saying, if you didn't have to stand in line, why'd you get up at 6 in the morning?
Because they will go. There were only like 22 of them. So she
How do you
was
know
like
that?
one of the 3 people. Oh, because you can't get them anywhere, dude.
Stock notify, 22 left at Walmart.
Yeah, it said they had 22 and they were getting 46 more next week, but you can't find these things anywhere. It's impossible. I don't know if it's because of the supply issues getting them over from China or whatnot, but it has been difficult. So we got it. He's not even going to care. My son doesn't know what it is.
Like Abe said, for you,
I'm gonna give you both advice since you both have young kids. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Because my wife and I used to get in turmoil every Christmas because, like, she literally would have the kids write this Christmas list, and it would be like this. Each kid got like a mountain of toys and stuff, which I never understood. I got one envelope from my dad every Christmas till I got old enough where I didn't get any more. That was it. I didn't understand these. Yeah, my dad gave me $100 bill. That's what I got for Christmas growing up. Yeah, no one's going shopping. So
wow, that's weird.
It's weird. What do we tell you? So But like, I didn't understand this concept of getting them these like 20 gifts, little gifts, big gifts. It just became insane. And we would argue about this because and then look, it's not even about the gifts. First, I think it sends the wrong message. But two, 80% of it's in the garbage in 10 days. Right? So we implemented, I can't remember who gave me this nugget of wisdom to give them credit, but we picked it up. It became really easy. Something each kid gets 4 things every Christmas.
Okay.
Something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, that's been your rule. Yeah, I know. That's your.
I mean, that's a cool rule, but we don't do that.
That
I mean, we really haven't had Christmases, but when I was a kid, I mean, we'd come out in the morning and there'd be a mountain of presents underneath the tree. There was nothing like that.
I don't get that. I mean, why?
I guess first world problems. You can.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's still, listen, I mean, at the same time, you know, something. What is it? Something to read.
Something they want.
Something
they need. So they get to pick what they want. We get to pick what they need.
Right.
They get to get something to wear, and we give them something to read.
Right. So with Abe's tribe, you're still talking about a mountain of 16 on the tree.
Listen, that's just from us. Then they got aunts and cousins, and you know, it's that
still turns into a mountain.
But yeah, it's still a mountain every Christmas. So
Paul left us. It's just me and you, bud.
No, I'm here. I have to take myself off the stream to show the ads.
We like you better that way. Just eyes up.
In fact, if you could put the ad on the top half of your box, it would be cooler.
So you can't see my beady little eyes peering down at you.
So we got? We got a very interesting guest, a first timer, a cherry popper.
Yep.
I love when we have a first time guest on KMA Talk Radio.
So formerly of we could go back to the beginning. Formerly of Baracoa Cigars, then they folded that company. Then he went to RoMa Craft Tobacc, and then he's back with Baracoa Cigars.
Did
Danny
you let
Vazquez.
Ronnie Aisha bully you into correcting that?
The Baracoa?
No, because he made a comment earlier about not formally or something. I saw his comment scroll up. That's why I was wondering why you changed your intro there.
No, I didn't. I honestly did not. But Danny Vazquez is with us.
What's
live from somewhere in the woods of Florida.
Yeah, in the woods of Tampa, Florida. Right.
Welcome to the show, Danny.
I appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's crazy to be. I mean, I've never really had any interaction with Abe for the most part. So this is. Well, I think we did. We were on a Zoom at the same time, or maybe with that the protocol dojo kind of 24-hour thing. I think we ended up both on there for some reason. There were some people trying to school us on how to sell cigars and market cigars,
right?
Something, and we're like, it's not necessarily accurate.
Oh, is that infamous night I've heard of, where it was just kind of a disaster in there?
Oh boy!
I think you've mentioned this night, Abe.
Well, disaster and protocol cigar room is like can't put that down to one night.
Right, one in the same.
Very hard to peg it down in one night. Yeah, Danny and I actually never had the really pleasure of meeting or socializing face to face. Most of our interaction has been on social media, but now that you're in Florida, that's probably going to change.
Yeah, like like when we talked about it, I was like, hey, I'm willing to go down there, but obviously COVID, it's not how it's working right now. But no, for sure, I need to get down south as soon as I can anyway. So
I was gonna say, now that he's not working for Skip, you guys will get together.
I probably could
Danny,
have made the deal work, but you didn't come to me. Yeah.
Oh.
What happened? What did you say?
I said I could have made the deal happen, but you didn't want to work with me. So, just
who, me? No.
I'm fucking with you.
No, listen. Skip came to my office and whatever. His model's just very selective on who that can work for. It's going to work for some retailers, the way he runs his business, and it's just not going to work for others. And it just, our linear footage and our shelf space is very tight, and it's hard to, dedicate space for brands that aren't readily available when you need them. Just to work out.
Well, to be 100%, I was never included. Like, I don't even know there was never a discussion with me about it. So I was just kind of more busting balls than anything. I don't really know.
So Danny, look, for the people that know you, and everybody I know that knows you, they love you, right? They are very big fans of you. And for the people who don't know you, because I mean, really, unless you kind of had any dealings with RoMa Craft or a RoMa Craft fan, you might, or a fan of your old company, you might not be alone. Why don't you give us a little history about what you did and how you eventually entered the cigar business?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the brief overview of the origin story, if you will, is that I was a guy that was in a cigar shop for too many days in a week, and just with pure ignorance, just assumed, hey, this is something I could do. We could open a shop and like this, and fairly quickly it was like, man, that's a lot more. Well, one, opening a shop, there's a lot more capital involved in doing that the right way anyway. And then, but on a creative side, I was just like, I'm really more interested in how to get a cigar. How do I make a cigar? Like, what's the whole process of that, right? And started looking into that, and that was about 2014. And it took me until about 2015 until I was like really comfortable in saying, hey, this is something that I think we can forward on, we could do. And then it was in 2016 is when we launched, Baracoa and the Voyage that year, right before August 8, 2016, as I had to, right? And I was also involved in an organization called Save the Leaf with Ryan Gallimore, that's now with Drew Estate. And that kind of helped get my face out there into a lot of the kind of cigar social media and cigar media. I was was doing an 1 to 2 hour long show on Cigar Dojo before I hadn't even launched my brand. So, I was in the face of a lot of the really cool people that were willing to kind of help me out there at the beginning. So that was it. I went about a year moving product and doing events and a full-time job. And it was a great experience. And kind of like I've said before, it's, being part of Save the Leaf and looking at all the FDA stuff and where it was a year later with really no change into it. I felt that, how long can I really do this where I can't create any new product? I can't, come out with stuff that stores are asking for, or, stores that really supported me at the beginning. Of course, everyone loves to have a limited edition or store exclusive and stuff like that. And, I can't, with the rules that were in place at the time, wasn't going to be allowed to do that.
Looking back on that now, do you think you prematurely shut it down?
Yeah, maybe, I guess. I mean, because it just seemed to be getting worse. And like, well, it
didn't make it seem like the end of the world was around the corner, but yet here we are, God knows how many years later, and kind of everybody's been operating outside of some labels and maybe some warnings that came on and off, and some packaging, but kind of everything's kind of been status quo. Do you think that looking back on it now, do you think maybe you should have stuck at it, or?
I think I could have, but I wouldn't change anything. The learning curve that I had from going from my own thing and my, 50, 60 accounts that I had and all the fun and all, all this stuff was great. But from day one at RoMa, going from 50 to 60 to, hey, 300, 350 accounts nationwide. And just learning, Skip is very process oriented. All of them is very, efficiency oriented. There's a lot of things that I learned. So no, I don't regret. I try not to regret anything. And where maybe I could have in hindsight, the things that I took away over the last 3 years and helping, run that company are invaluable. And I'm looking to take those forward now with me and in the way that I go, wherever this kind of ends up going. Right. So no, I mean, I think that what was meant to happen was meant to happen, and I'm going to take that with me now, and it's great. But yeah, I thought it was like, man, I guess nothing really happened, and you still saw people coming out with new cigars, and I know a lot of them were like, hey, we're going to drop 150 SKUs on August 6th, and technically on their own market, there was a lot of.
They did.
Yeah.
Manufacturers were just shipping product just to say it got out.
for free, right? Like a lot of them were free. Like,
No, well, it depends who it was.
I know of a few that that were doing a lot for free to one or two stores, right? So it's like, hey, here's.
They couldn't do it for free.
Well,
so
right.
It's not accurate because there has to be a proof of payment. So they may have subsidized it later or something, but they had to ship. Because I remember, because we got hit up by so many people. I finally said, listen, I go find somebody else. I was thinking, I got a whole room full of stuff that nobody knows about. I can't sell because it's never heard of. So, I mean, it got nuts.
Yeah. There was some serious creativity that went on there. Some of them were like, hey, don't worry, here's the invoice, super expensive for, you can take your time paying it or whatever. Just, please, accept this or how'd it go? So I was so busy creating the one brand and 2 SKUs and helping promote that and Save the Leaf and, all my full-time job. It's just, that was kind of the rookie move, right? That I didn't anticipate. But now I would know better, like if that day changed, right? So there's a lot of things that I kind of learned there, but yeah,
Did getting a job with RoMa Craft, was that part of the decision of closing up your company? Did that happen before and you said, well, there's an opportunity maybe, or did you close the company first? And then if that happened, how did you end up falling in with Skip?
Yeah, no, I made the decision to close the company, and that was it. My assumption was I was out of the industry. I met a lot of really cool people. I would just hang out and do some perps or maybe meetups. I don't know. I was fine with it. I actually got an offer from a pretty popular blog that said, hey, we'd love for you to do you want to be a writer, and write some cigar stuff for our website? I'm like, man, absolutely, let's do that. And I was actually completely gone. Now what happened was, and I've said it before, Skip was like the very first person to reach out after the Coop actually posted the press release, and not with a job offer or anything like that. It was just, hey man, what you're doing is really cool. I'm sorry to hear it. You ever need anything, let me know. And you guys know how Skip is, right? Like, it's gonna be a shirt off his back, well, not his back. He'll buy you a shirt, but he won't give you his shirt, but he'll buy you a shirt. And so it was really nice, right? So I was like, oh dude, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
I'm not sure anybody wants the shirt off of Skip's back though.
It wouldn't fit me. That's all I'm gonna say. It just wouldn't fit me. But
I mean, I might be able to wear it.
Well, I'm not saying anything about that. But so that was it. I was like, hey, I appreciate it. We had like he does. We had interacted a lot on social media and joking stuff, and then my wife became friendly with his girlfriend Arlen, and we just kind of really met on Facebook, and but they also weren't hiring at the time. But whatever, that wasn't even in my mind. Now there were quite a few offers, from smaller guys at the time, which was really cool. But at the same time, I was like, I had the passion for my brand. It's tough for me to have passion for another brand that I don't necessarily have passion for, right? So no, yeah, that was it. It was I don't know, a month and a half, maybe 2 months after I made that announcement that Skip had reached out again and said, hey,
so did you go back into the IT world?
Yeah, I had never left. I was a full-time IT director, and that was a really time-consuming job. Now, thankfully, I had done a well enough job that the machine was just kind of running itself, and I had a couple guys under me, and they would handle all the smaller stuff. Because really, at that level, whatever that means, there wasn't a lot of IT stuff I was doing. It was really, managing people and vacations and time off, and, shit like that, contract negotiating. So there was time for me to kind of help promote this thing and do events. Now, what happened was, I was kind of, again, another rookie thing was like anyone that was willing to do an event or, say, hey, let's do an event. I'll bring cigars and whatever we sell, stuff like that. I was getting kind of busy up in the Northeast, where it was interfering a little bit with my job. I was like leaving the office early to go do an event at, like, I remember Signature Cigars in Maryland, right? And I'm posting the event, and my boss like sends me a screenshot, like, hey, of my post, and like, hey, good luck at your event, right? So I'm like, yeah, there it is. So, but at the same time, and I've said it before, I had such a good time. I wasn't in the hole. I made a little bit of money. I had a ton of fun, Vegas, doing the trade show and meeting all the people and all the shows and all the different events I got to go on. We were doing dual events with me and Protocol, and I got really close with Juan and the Espinosa guys, and so it was just really fun. Those guys kind of took me under the wing.
Danny, who's making your original blend?
So, and God bless them. I love it, but it's almost like the Ricky factory. Also, that's the third time I've used that word. I honestly don't use it that much, but was at La Aurora. So La Aurora and Miami Cigar at the time, they made it really, really simple, right? It's like, hey, you come down here, we can work on the blend, we can do this thing. We'll import, we'll ship to you.
Me, Paul, or am I just getting a bad connection with Dan? Now I can't hear Paul. Is it my end?
I'm hearing it too. It's like a little bit of a
Yeah, it's probably the AirPods like I used to use.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the AirPods.
Try taking the AirPods off.
Sure. It's gonna be a little echoey in here, but sure.
That's all right. We've had worse.
I still hear it.
All right. Let's try that. So La Aurora made your cigars?
Yeah, so I worked with Manuel and the guys out of Miami Cigar to get that project done, and it was fun. I learned a lot. That factory is obviously an institution. It's been here for a very long time, and they have access to a lot of things, and it was great. It was a great learning experience for me. And they made a lot of things really simple, and were, Manuel was very good at teaching me, like, hey, you got to stay on top of the box factory. Don't assume that because you put an order in with the box factory and they told you it's going to be done by the 15th, that if you don't stay on top of them, it won't be the 15th, and just a lot of that. It's like, if you're not happy with the box, or you got, the sample, you get it back, you get it, and you do it make sure they're doing it the way you want it, right? I was like, okay.
Were they doing a distribution for you too? So they handled everything?
No.
Oh no.
Just.
So where were you headed? Where were you based out of?
I was based out of Maryland. So
they were making the cigars and shipping them to you in Maryland.
Right.
So you were on top of your full-time job, also doing fulfillment.
Yeah.
You were packing and shipping cigars.
Packing, shipping, charging, warehousing, traveling, all of it. Yeah. And a family. So
yeah,
not a lot of sleep, but it's funny because you don't even notice, right? It's just like when you're doing it for yourself, it's just like, oh, I'm clicking. You're like, no, I'm not really working. I'm just invoicing all these, I'm going to charge these cars. I'm invoicing. I'm sending out invoicing. I'm going to pack and ship, but I'm not really working. And like, no, you're working. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess technically I'm working, but I don't feel it that way because I was so like, yes, like
right.
Every box I was packing was just, I loved it, right? So, and I couldn't have done any of that without my wife's support at the time. Also, either her handling the kids or, with me doing events and stuff like that. Right. So, it was a good time, man. There was a lot going on at the time. But it was a lot of fun for sure.
So how did that eventually evolve now? Because we keep.
How's the industry involved?
No, how'd you end up with RoMa?
Yeah, so just like that, about a month and a half or two after I closed up shop, Skip sent me a message and says, "Hey, give me a call." And I'd love to tell this part of the story, and I don't know if he's watching or not, but I have the messages to prove it. He's like, "Hey, give me a call." I'm like, "Okay." What's your number? I don't have your number, right? And he's in Nicaragua. And then I hear from him like a day later. He's like, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry." Well, also, what I didn't know at the time was Skip's sleep schedule in Nicaragua is usually like, sleeps all day and then up all night. I don't know. It's like, whoa, it was weird. He just told me to call him. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And then I sent him a message like, "Hey, just is there something I can help you with? You know, what is it you need from me? And he's like, no, honestly, you know, just wondering if you'd be interested in a position with us, but just, you know, before we start, you would have to move to Austin. Like, so let's just start there. And at the time, man, I was done with Maryland because our last snowstorm where I was 37 inches.
Oh.
And in about 4 hours. And it was.
And you grew up in Florida, so this was not
right. I grew up
normal.
I grew up in St. Pete, and I remember one time as a kid it flurried for like, you know, 4 or 5 minutes. And yeah, I was up there for about 5 years, and there was cold and stuff, but that was the first time I was trapped in my house for 3 or 4 days. Right? I like what the hell? And we lost my wife's car. For a week, right? So I had to like get another car for a week while they dug it out, and it was wild. So we're like, man, where are we going? So we had actually kind of talked about moving back to Florida at the time. And then, so anyway, this comes on, and he's like, hey, well, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'd be interested, you know, if it makes sense, right? And it makes sense for them, makes sense for me. And obviously, we all know makes sense means, you know, how much does it pay, right? Let's be real. So he says, hey, you know, why don't you go meet Mike Rosales, and then we'll all meet up. So I'm like, okay, cool. And the thing is, I was so busy on my side. At the time, I'd probably smoked, you know, a handful of RoMa Crafts, but I was so busy with everything else I was doing. I didn't know a super ton about it. So, you know, I don't know if maybe that ended up helping me with, like, because I wasn't a fanboy, right? Like, I was coming in as a, like, hey, this is going to be work, right? Not like, hey, you know, everything about RoMa is great, and then, you know, you get into it where it's like, oh wow, this is actually a job, this is really actual work. But I didn't know who Mike Rosales was. Mike isn't as on social media as Skip is, and you know, to say the least. So I fly out to Oklahoma, and Mike scoops me up from that hotel, and this is the very first time we're meeting. And the very first time we're meeting, we're going to be stuck in a car all day, going to shops, and then eventually an event at night. So I always like to say this, like, this could have went two different ways. It could have been like, he drops me right back off at the hotel and says, hey, you know, don't worry about Austin. I got your flight, head back to Maryland, or I end up with a job. And it turned out, though, you know, obviously we know how it turned out. You know, him and I had a lot of very similar things, a lot of even the same mannerisms. And, you know, it was very, very funny. So we actually kind of hit it off right away. And I went and did a couple of events while I was out there in Oklahoma. And from there, we flew to Austin. I met the rest of the team. And, dude, they put me through the RoMa Craft ringer because I was up till like, I don't know, 5 a.m. and then back at the office at 9 a.m. to meet people. And then, you know, hey, one more time at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, yo, like, you know, I was dead before. I was like, hey, I was almost like, I will sign just to get the hell out, to get some sleep. No, it wasn't happening. But by the end of it, had a job offer, flew back home, talked to the boss. By boss, I mean my wife. And
I was going to clarify for all the single men out there.
Yeah. And she was like, well, what's Austin like? Like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. So we flew the family out to Austin. We were there for a few days and flew back, and then that was it. So, you know, by the end of September, I was at RoMa, and it was that fast, like 2 months. So it was great because, you know, especially later on, kind of knowing, it was like they didn't really post the job, right? It wasn't like, hey, we're looking for a guy, and when I was hired and the announcement went out, and it was like, it was neat because it was like, it even went into IPCPR magazine, and, you know, whoever reads that, but, you know, that it was really cool. And the reaction was mixed because a lot of it was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, you know, Danny got RoMa, and some people were like, oh my God, RoMa got Danny, which was cool. But most of the reactions were like, who the fuck is Danny Vazquez, right? Like, who is this guy? Like, why are you announcing that you're hiring this guy? So that was humbling, to say the least, right? Because, like, well, now, you know, what that means is, you know, I'm back at, you know, I'm here and I have to prove the fact that, you know, my worth and my value. What do I do, right? So that was it, man. I went in and tried to hit the ground running as best I can. And, you know, was there for 3 years, about 3.
it's a pretty tight knit group there, right?
Yeah. I mean, when I started, it was Skip and Mike, obviously. Skip's ex-wife, Mike's wife, and Skip's daughter. So I was the only one that wasn't a Rosales or a Martin, and that was going to be the key. Like, I know I can communicate. I know I can talk to people. I know I can sell, whatever that means. I know I can host events. But how am I going to get along with the team, right? So fairly quickly, I mean, that was really what I focused on. Was like, hey, let's befriend everybody. And then Mike Rosales' wife and my wife, like, they just hit it off right away. And we have kids about the same age. So just, as quick as I kind of got brought on at the same speed, like, my whole family just got adopted by that RoMa family. So it was off to the races, man, when we started there. So yeah, tight knit for sure.
How was life in Texas? How'd your family acclimate to being in Texas? It's quite a different culture than Maryland.
Oh yeah, 100%. But we were happy, and here's a little kind of snippet that will let you understand our mentality and how we saw it. When you would open a door, like you're going into 7-Eleven, you open the door and you let someone in, they would walk in. Very cool. In Texas, or really in the South, when you open the door for someone at 7-Eleven and they walk in, they say, "Oh, thank you very much, I appreciate it," right? Or "Thank you," or "Appreciate," whatever. There's not a lot of that up north, right? And and listen, I'm originally a New Yorker. Like, I was born in New York. My mom has a super thick New York accent, right? So I still have a little bit of that aggression, especially for Texas, and some of that. But being raised in Florida, somebody opens the door for you, you say thank you, or you actually open the door for someone and do that. So that just tells you a lot of the culture shock between Maryland and being back in the South and in Texas. But Austin is very different than the rest of Texas, right? So Austin is a lot like St. Pete is now, if you guys have been up here at all. Very hipster, very trendy, very foodie. The food in Austin is phenomenal. There's a lot to see there. There's hills like in California. There's river. There's all kinds of shit to do. So we actually really, really fell in love with Austin. It was great.
Austin's the little blue dot in Texas.
And yeah, I hear that all the time. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like one of the few cities that's like you can be next to an F-350, Ford F-350 pickup truck and a Prius and a Tesla. It's just like, the whole city is all confused, but it meshes really well. So, yeah, to be completely honest, we loved Texas. Now, we went there with the mentality of like, oh, we're from Florida. Don't tell us about heat. I know about heat. I'm from Florida. Humidity, heat. Our first summer, when it was 10 straight days of over 100 degrees, and the sun comes down in fists, like the sun just punches you in the face all day. I had a whole new respect for summers in heat in Texas then.
Would you rather have that fist-pounding sun or the 37 inches of snow?
No, fist-pounding sun. You can't do
there
shit.
You go. Yeah, keep it in perspective, Danny. Keep it in perspective.
Yeah, it's funny.
Spoken like a true Florida boy.
Yeah, so I was thinking Florida. It's like, well, do you want the sun and dry heat, or do you want like 85 degrees but super muggy, right? Like, I want neither. I just want to go inside of my air conditioning. That's
right, exactly.
I don't know if it's because I've been here so long or because I don't have any hair, but I don't get the whole humidity thing.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I get it. And I also understand from, like, I remember my first time going to Vegas, and
I mean, the women cry about it because it blows their hair up, like
right.
But like, it doesn't faze me. I mean, let me tell you something. I landed in Vegas. It was like 107 or 8, and we were waiting in line to get in a car. And I'm telling you, the first thing we said when we got in the car was, "Take us to a convenience store. We need water." I mean, like, we were going to die. It was like an oven.
Right. And Danny described it perfect. It really is. It's a punch in the face as soon as you walk out from AC into that dry heat. Dead in the face.
I don't get that argument. The dry heat, the humidity. If it's hot, it's hot.
No, it's different because, like, in humidity, you can't even really breathe in humidity, right? Or you instantly start sweating, like you're not even really that hot.
Well, I'm fat. I sweat all the time, no matter what the climate is.
You're just.
It's like you can take a knife and cut the air. It's like
I'm just a moist man.
Now, we've been to Arizona, obviously, and Vegas, and the difference with Vegas is when it's nighttime, and if nobody's ever been to Vegas, you'll appreciate this when you get there. The heat comes from the bottom at night, right? So it's not like Arizona, or like Phoenix, the sun goes down, and you're like, oh, the weather is fucking phenomenal. It's beautiful. When the sun goes down in Vegas, the heat just changes from that direction to from the ground, and you feel it. So it's just like
it's all the underground generators that run all the lights in the city.
Right.
Yeah. And
well, here I always joke with people because I'm from Long Island. I joke with a lot of people that at night sometimes here in the heat of August or July, it's hotter at night because it's so humid. You just walk outside and your arms and your calves are covered in sweat.
I don't get that. You get that, Alex?
I get that like after that 2:00 rain, and
after
then
rain. Okay, you're right. The only time I ever really feel like the musk of humidity is after a good rain.
Right.
But outside of that, I'm never conscious of it.
Right.
Yeah. You know, growing up here, I really wasn't either until I moved like further up north where there's less humidity. Even though Maryland technically for the Northeast has a lot of humidity, like compared to like, I don't know, like Western Virginia or Western PA or whatever. But then you come back, like you're living in Maryland, you come back and visit Florida, you're like, holy crap, like I feel like, but
I think part of it is you just acclimate because now that I'm thinking about it, I wasn't conscious of 30-degree weather when I lived in Chicago. I used to go out with shorts and a t-shirt like it was nothing. So I guess, you acclimate to where you live, I guess.
No, but you are now.
Because the weather.
God. Are you kidding me? If it's like 50, I'm looking for a jacket.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Exactly. I'm like, no, even here it was I was recording a show or a podcast on Monday and I was like, man, it's 61 and I had my hoodie, I had my full sweats on and I'm freezing because I'm outside and yeah, no, that's exactly it.
It's embarrassing to go back in cold weather now because I'm literally, I used to we played football in 30 or below weather. I mean, cold wasn't nothing, and now it's like 60. I'm like, does anybody got a hat? I mean, I'm a little embarrassed now.
I mean, it's really it's like a complete switch. You know, up north it hits 60. You're like, bust out the t-shirts, put some shirts on. No. Now you get down here, it hits 60. You're looking for a jacket and a hat.
Crazy.
Alex, when you bring your son up to Jersey and Pennsylvania, does he get cold really easily?
He does. He gets cold. He thinks he's is into the snow, which he's had a couple times, but it's like 10 minutes and it's like, I'm cold. Let's get out of here. Yeah. My son is quick to be like, I'm done. Let's go. He doesn't. So, it's definitely a culture shock.
We hit 48 degrees one morning here out west in Florida, and the dogs wouldn't go outside. I had to carry the dogs outside, and my son walked outside, and he started crying. He said, too cold, Daddy, too cold. All right, buddy, get over it. He's a Florida kid all the way.
You had to carry your dogs outside.
I had to pick Nala up and put her outside.
Is that the one that's on Prozac?
Yes, it is.
Paul's the only guy I know a dog that's maybe more medicated than his wife.
Right.
So Danny, moving forward, let's fast forward 3 years at RoMa Craft.
Hold on, before we get into RoMa Craft, let's take a break.
Okay.
It's a good time to take a break. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about the RoMa Craft era. And I'm going to throw two questions out for you to think about, Danny, because I don't want to blindside you. But when we come back from the break, I want to know what was the best thing about working for Skip Martin, and what was the worst thing about working for Skip Martin. And we'll be back to answer those questions right after this. Keep it lit.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es Elmer Suárez, de La Flor de Copán en Honduras.
My name is Ernesto Kranwinkel and I'm from La Romana, Dominican Republic.
Hola, mi nombre es Diana, soy de Manizales, Colombia.
Díaz, Freddy Molina desde Estelí, Nicaragua.
Hola amigos, saludos a todos. María Santis, orgullosa de ser puertorriqueña.
Cheers, I'm Oliver, I'm from London, England.
I love H. Uman Añejo.
My favorite H. Upmann Dominican cigar is the H. Upmann Banker.
My favorite H. Upmann cigar is the Herman's Batch.
Favorite H. Upmann is the H. Upmann by AJ Fernandez.
Mi cigarro favorito es H. Upmann Española.
I highly recommend you try the H. Upmann 175th anniversary, awarded number 10 cigar of 2019.
One world together with H. Upmann.
Surgeon General warning: cigars are not a safe alternative to cigarettes.
Hurricane Iota.
Hurricane Iota.
Hurricane Iota.
A humanitarian crisis is unfolding in Central America tonight. Honduras is being hammered by powerful winds.
Hi guys, my name is Raul Flores. I'm marketing director here.
My name is Baba Booey. You might know me as Tyler.
Guys, we want to thank you so much for your donations for Hurricane Eta. We were almost right there with the 10,000, but aren't those rookie numbers, man?
Dude, those are rookie numbers, man. Listen, we made the $9,100. We got Christian, he's matching that number, and we're talking to people right now from Conchita Foods.
Wait, Conchita Foods aren't those the guys that compete with Goya?
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm from Virginia, and I choose Conchita Foods.
Conchita Foods is the one, my man.
Dude, they're great. And listen, man, why stop at 10,000? Dude, let's get to 50,000, man.
50,000 is our new goal,
We're talking to 2 other foundations. Mm-hmm. We're going to make it to $50,000. If you're looking for your reason to live, do it now. You're helping these people. Hey, listen, man, almost 2 million people displaced from their homes in northern Honduras. Right. Dude, come on, what are you waiting for?
We're gonna make the GoFundMe right now, so please, you're gonna find the link in our website. Everybody's gonna be posting, everybody's gonna be donating. We need your help right now. Guys, don't think too much. Do it now. Act right now, my man.
Listen, man, $50,000, we could do it. We're counting on you.
Welcome back, everybody. Honest Abe here with Hour 2 of KMA Talk Radio, episode number 402, with my 2 trusty cohorts, Alex Tabella and Paul DeRocco. And on KMA today is the man himself, Danny Vazquez. Man, that that foundation that CLE is doing for all those people who got displaced in Honduras is amazing. But man, I felt sorry for that table during that commercial.
Hold on, I couldn't hear what you were saying. It was breaking up.
No, I said that the money they're trying to raise for all the families that got displaced in Honduras from the hurricane is really a great thing. But that was the first time I saw that clip. I was saying I felt sorry for that table.
Yeah, that was intense. That was an intense
table on that thing. That was something.
If you visit our homepage, KMATalkRadio.com, scroll down. There's a CLE Foundation banner. That goes to their GoFundMe page, and that's where you can donate to help them raise money to help those displaced families. And I mean, we love Christian and Tom over at CLE and Asylum, and they're doing some great work now. So we want the KMA family to help these people out if you can. Every little bit is appreciated, as Tom was telling us the other day.
Ooh. This episode, this part 2 of KMA Talk Radio. This is my stick.
I should have came in the office, damn it.
This is
you got to raid his humidor.
This is the first one I'm smoking since we picked it out, I don't know, sometime last year. So, I mean, they literally just came in. We started boxing them. I mean, this is the first one I'm smoking.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Danny, before the break, 2 questions I asked you. I'm sure everybody in America wants to know.
Everybody.
What is I'll start out with the easy one. What's the best thing about working with Skip Martin?
Listen, I mean, there's a lot of good things about working with Skip. It's
Are you in a bathroom?
I'm in this empty,
he's in a holding cell.
Yeah, somebody thought you were in a correctional facility. They were wondering if you were getting out this weekend.
I can try the AirPods again.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, don't worry about it.
The echo is better than the earpods. We don't miss a word with the echo, so you're good.
I don't know if it's the website or the connection. Okay, well,
it's the earpods. They don't work sometimes for some reason.
Yeah, the Bluetooth does not work great. We're gonna start telling people to only do wired headphones.
Yeah.
So
the best thing about working
there's a lot of good things with Skip.
We could settle for one.
Like I mentioned earlier, if there was something if there was anything you ever needed, it was nothing to ask Skip, and he would help, and he would. I mean, that's just the kind of guy he is. He has a huge heart, and you always know where you stand with Skip. I mean, that's kind of thing. As controversial as he may be on social media, controversial. I guess he's controversial to the people that don't agree with him, right? Or whatever. You knew exactly like where you stood with Skip, and he gave it to you straight, and there was no wondering like, oh, how does he feel? It's like, no, right? And that's a great thing, on the working side, right? On the as a boss side, that you want to know. It's like, hey, here's your job, here's your goal, you got to figure it out, and kind of that openness to be able to kind of create your own job and handle it the way you want, as long as you're kind of results oriented, right? So, but there's a lot. Like he does make you feel like part of the team, to make you feel like part of the family. He's really good at just including everybody in something or whatever, right? So there's Skip has a lot of good traits, and I know that a lot of people, the question is kind of there because of his social media kind of angst and things that happen there, right? But to be real, as long as you're kind of doing your shit and making sure you're handling your job and what you've been told to do and asked to do, and part of your job, and he's actually fairly easy to work with or for.
So, I mean, look, from my own personal experience, there's two Skip Martins. There's a Skip Martin you see on social media, and there's a Skip Martin you see when you're in person talking with him and interacting with him.
I wonder if it's mine.
So, are you all right, Paul?
I'm okay. I think Danny's having some issues.
All right. Can you hear us, Dan?
Danny, can you hear us?
Danny?
Yeah, now I'm hearing you choppy.
Major Tom.
All right, well, finish your statement, Abe. There's two different Skip
Well,
Martins.
in my experience, just two different Skip Martins completely. The Skip Martin you interact with on Facebook and debate or agree with is completely different than a guy when he sat in my office and we had like a 4-hour conversation one day. But that being said, and the president of the Danny Vazquez fan club is on right now, your buddy Ronnie Haysha. So we're let's see how we respond. What was the worst thing about working with Skip Martin? Because I know everybody who works for me would love to line up and answer that question.
So here he is again.
Did we lose
Danny,
him?
so what was the worst thing about working with Skip?
It's because he told you exactly what he wanted from you. No, the worst thing.
Dude, my team would line up with a list.
Oh, please don't get me started.
My team would line up with a list with no shame.
None.
I don't even work for you full time, and I got a list going here.
Yeah, look.
The worst thing. I don't know.
We can't fire you.
I honestly feel like skipping it, but it's and it's not even the worst thing, but Skip has just a way that things need to work, right? And the way things need to go in a very systematical way that may or may not sometimes be the same way, I would think, or everyone else thinks. So, it was just a part of like learning that system of how Skip would like things done. Right. And there was some learning curves there and some bumps in the roads, like, hey, very particular on, especially with his brand and things like that too. It's like, we got into it one time because the t-shirt logos were a little off here, inch off here, inch off there. Right. And, but ultimately, although those things are kind of a pain in the ass, those small details matter to him and the company and the brand. And, it was never for just to kind of show you, hey, I'm the fucking boss, so you need to do it this way. A lot of it had a reasoning to, why he did it, right? Like, having let's say like the headquarters showroom ready at all times where I was like, okay, it's not that bad. But the truth is, guests came in there all the time to headquarters and did tours. So I got it, right? And, but, listen, Skip and I have a really good relationship. I know that if I called and text and needed anything, or, my kids need anything, my wife need anything, I know, Skip's a guy that I could call and he would help, whatever, right? So,
very diplomatic of you. Very diplomatic.
That was a softball at best.
That was a softball. I could have fired off on Abe immediately.
Well, I mean, I think what I've heard about Skip, one of the complaints that I've heard in the past from people not to be mentioned is that because he is up all night, a lot of times you'll get assignments or tasks at 3 a.m. and
Dude,
Abe does the same thing.
I'm guilty
That
of
is Abe. And here's the thing with Abe. Abe loves group texts as well. So you may have 6 different group texts that are plus or minus one person or 2 people. So you'll get this slew of things coming in on 4 different group texts at 4 a.m. And then he comes walking in at 9:30 and he's like, all right, where are we at on this? I'm like, dude, we're still trying to decipher the text. Is this done? Is that ready? What's the deadline? I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. No, definitely. The emails and text messages from 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning would be there.
We stopped using emails 2 years ago. Too slow for me.
Yeah.
I take credit for that.
Yes. Emails are too slow. You might as well be on the Pony Express if you're communicating via email.
Well, if there's attachments and stuff, but anyway,
That's about it.
He but he wasn't dumb. He knew I was sleeping, but I was able also to prove myself that, hey, if you text me at 4 a.m. that you need something done by a certain time or whatever, it's gonna get done. So it wasn't like, oh shit, let me wake up and do it now. Text me at 4 a.m.
Alan, that's why you work for Santa Clara. We have higher standards.
Oh boy, here we go.
Alan Rubin.
Shot fired.
So fast forward at RoMa Craft, you're there for 3 years. Why the change?
So I think we had been looking to kind of come back to Florida for a little while. All of my wife's family's here, and we have a lot of friends here. A lot of the friends that I grew up with are here. And honestly, whenever we went on vacation with the kids, if we were coming to grandma's here in Florida, or we were coming to Disney here in Florida, or whatever. So we'd kind of always like, maybe at some point we could end up back in Florida. But what actually happened, and in a much more serious kind of thing, is my daughter has a condition called von Willebrand's that is a bleeding disorder that is hard for her to clot. Like, so if she were to get a cut, maybe for us wouldn't be too bad. We could just hold it and wrap it and heal it. My wife has, my daughter has this thing called von Willebrand's, that the enzyme that kind of manages those cells to scab up and to clot the blood doesn't necessarily work as well as it should. She doesn't have the worst case, but it is something that we have to monitor as she gets older. In Texas, for like the last year and a half, she was getting, or like the last year and a half, 2 years, she would get a nosebleed, and she had her first nosebleed there, and then it was once a month, and then it was twice a month, and then it was once a week, and then twice a week. And then it turned into at least once a day, where she was just getting these nosebleeds. And, she's 9, she's about to be 10, she's about to hit puberty, right? So we know what happens with blood, right? Like, we have to be very conscious of that. The doctors are like, look, there's not really much we can do for her right now. I mean, there's not like some magic pill, and she's way too young for birth control. So they're like, if you have found something that could help her, you kind of need to, just do that. So we're like, well, of course. So we come to vacation here in Florida like 2 times one late 2019, and then like in June or July of this year, and kind of just took note that, man, we've been here for 2 or 3 days. She hasn't had a nosebleed, and she hasn't been taking any allergy medicine. So Austin is much drier than Florida. And then also they have these cedar trees that give off this pollen, and it was really, really affecting her. So we come to Florida and nothing. And now we've been here 3 months, and she hasn't had one nosebleed. She hasn't been taking any allergy medicine.
Amazing.
So I'm going to tell you, and this will be my last emotional statement. But when I'm up at 3 a.m. with my first kid, and she's crying, saying, Dad, why does this happen to me? Like, why do I have to have this? It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters.
Of course.
You want to fix that problem. So,
There's nothing worse as a parent than feeling helpless when one of your kids is in pain. It's the worst feeling.
And to the point where I left knowing I was going to be due a bonus in Q3. Like, I knew we had hit the number. I was getting a bonus, but I just really couldn't do it anymore. And school starting here, I think.
Skip didn't send you the bonus anyway?
Why did you have to do that? Come on, no. So
I'm just saying.
No, so when there's a comment by Andrew McCrary. Andrew McCrary knows very well about moving states for your kid. I don't know if you guys know him, but that's someone you should reach out to if you ever have any questions. He's a good dude, and so we just made that decision, and that was it. So I'd given like a 3-week notice. So a lot of people are like, oh, you left because you wanted to start your own brand. I was like, well, honestly, when I put in my notice, there was the FDA announcement from the judge in Maryland hadn't happened. That actually was announced like my last week there. So it wasn't until that change where that became an option, or this what we're doing.
Was there any possibility of you continuing to stay with RoMa Craft and working from Florida?
No, and kind of the reasoning is, again, being a small knit team, we would do sales, but we would also handle the shipments when they came in from Nicaragua, and helped, in the warehouse and shipping and all that, at least twice a month, or at least once a month, but usually twice a month, which would consume, 3 to 4 days, right? So, 8 days of 20 working days in a month, I wouldn't have been with the team helping.
Right.
I mean, who's to know? It wasn't offered. It wasn't really brought up. It was just kind of like, hey, I kind of need to go fairly quickly. And especially
when you made the decision to move, did you know what you were going to do, or that was just you'll figure it out?
I would figure it out. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I was at that level where I felt bad for that level of my kid, right? And I'm not the kind of like, hey, just ship her to grandma's for the next month or so, right? So no, to be completely honest, we knew something would work out. We knew it, just blind faith or just trust in ourselves. And like, hey, if I go back to IT at even a lower level than I was, well, hey, I'm still at 6 figures, right? Like we would have been okay, right? Even if that meant I was out of the cigar industry, it just wasn't, and nothing else was important at the time. We had some savings, we had friends and family here that we knew that we could lean on if we needed to. So that was it. It was just fucking let's go.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
ballsy to say the least. Looking back, super ballsy. Yeah, there it is.
And then this guy comes back.
Yeah.
So tell us about the new Baracoa. So cigars are in production now?
Cigars are in production. Boxes fucking better be in production next week. You guys know what I'm saying. Yeah. And I mean, this is a really cool story too. There's a guy named Ronnie Haysha up in Detroit. I don't know if anyway.
The president of the Danny Vazquez fan club.
Yeah, he's the president. No, for sure. He's turned into that guy's turned into my brother, right? Everybody's brother that he kind of like attaches to, and
he's everybody's
brothers.
He's everybody's
brother or stalker, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, either one.
Don't call him a stalker. He unfriended me on Facebook once because I called him a stalker.
That's a huge move for him to unfriend you.
That's true.
He did.
That takes effort. Like, you got to do it. So anyway, he was in the ear of a lot of people about me and this and that. So, I had my last week there. I had some offers already come in. Either it'd be, hey, if you're going to relaunch the Voyage, you know, we'd love for you to use our factory. If you're looking for something, we'd love a Florida rep. You know, some people didn't know I was moving to Florida or whatever, or they thought I was going to stay in Texas. And Texas is like a state that a lot of people would use help in, right? It's so massive, it's kind of hard to cover that and other states. But anyway, so the love, that was humbling. Like some like bigger companies, some smaller companies. It was very humbling. It made me feel good, right? So I'm like, well, hey, maybe this kind of works out. And then I got into a conversation with Henderson Ventura from Tabacalera, William Ventura, and DR. And I know you guys know this. And him and I talked for about an hour and a half. And right away, man, we just kind of clicked and just kept talking. And he really understood the project that I was working on, also understanding like the COVID type of situation we had with, you know, flying in and out of the country and going to DR. So he was very, very willing to work with me. You know, thankfully for the first voyage, which, you know, we have 3 plans or 3 brands in mind production, and we're working on the next releases already. But at least for the first voyage, I knew what the blend was, right? I mean, I had the blend down. It was my blend, and I sent that to Henderson, and kind of back and forth a couple times with different samples. He crushed it, right? So, you know, in that talk though, it was really cool because I guess, you know, there's a lot of guys that are as dumb as I was back in 2014, 2015, that smoke a lot of cigars and they want their own cigar, right? Whether they have a club or a Facebook page or a really cool Instagram account, they want to have their own cigar, right? So they'll beg any factory to make a cigar for them, or to even give them something that they have left over on the shelf, or, you know, whatever that they can slap their band on. And he's not necessarily interested in doing stuff like that for, you know, people that may or may not, that don't really understand the concept of selling the cigar after you get it made. You want to make a cigar? That's fucking anybody. If you got the cash, anybody can get a cigar made tomorrow.
Amen.
But the reorder, right? Which, you know, the selling, you know, okay, well, cool. Yeah, you know, I'm really close to, I'm really close to a lot of stores around here. Like, oh yeah, like how many? Yeah, like 2 or 3 stores. I visit them all the time. Like, oh, word. Like, okay, let's say all those stores order 5 boxes of each. You know, what are you doing after that? Well, like, yeah, dude, it's not that easy. Well, anyway, and I say that because he tells me a story of guys that are looking to, have a cigar, and he's not necessarily interested in taking up production space from the factory to serve these small kind of brands that aren't even really brands. They're just really one-offs, right? But he's like, but I know about you. Again, thank you, Ronnie. Love you. And I've seen you on social media. You know, I think you can. This would be great. I'd love to work with you. And that was it, man. I was like, I love this factory. I love the stuff that's coming out of this factory. A lot of people know, you know, my man crush is Matt Booth in the industry, right? So a lot of his stuff is kind of coming out of there. And,
Matt Booth seemed to be a lot of people's man crush.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, but how many of them have the ring, you know, and a bracelet named after them? This is actually, you can go on Room 101. It's called the Danny Link bracelet.
Oh my God, I didn't know that was you. I know the Danny Link. That's you.
That's why I got
Look at Paul. He's all enamored now.
So my wife.
That's awesome, dude.
My wife wanted to do it as a present, and Matt was like, "Well, there's something I've been wanting to do for a while." So I got the Danny Link bracelet with the matching Talon ring that I wear on special occasions. So for any Matt Booth man crushes you think out there, yeah, pump your brakes. But anyway,
you and Guy Fieri have the jewelry named after you, so that's good company to be in.
Guy Fieri on a much different level. Matt, you know, he's flying private jets with Guy Fieri. I will buy you a Southwest ticket to come visit me. That's the difference. That's the only difference between me and Guy Fieri.
So
and a full head
the
of hair.
New cigar. Right. Well, yeah. So the new cigar. Here's the official logo.
Yeah.
Is this the first time anybody's seen this?
No, because this is the first cigar that I launched. So this is the Voyage. I used the same,
Okay.
This is something I worked on with Umberto out of Miami, also from Cigar Package Design, and that's a font that I found and loved, and he worked it and did the flourishes and all these things, I just really fell in love with it. And what's funny is, as I was kind of telling people that I was going to relaunch and stuff like that, I'm like, no, I'll probably redesign the band and the boxes and have something new. And the immediate response was like, no, like we love that. I'm like, for real? Like, for me it was like my intro, right? So I'm like, I have my creativity side has changed.
It was
the
a very
amount of
sophomore
art
concept for you early on, right? You look at it like it's soft, like it was early work, because that's what just happened with us. Like I had a retro. I found one of the first Smoke Inn uniforms we ever made. I posted it on Facebook with our old logo, which I look at. I'm like, oh man, that's so sophomoric. That was my early days and whatnot, and everybody loved it. They're like, then we got to make stuff using the old logo now. We're gonna make some throwback stuff, but I mean,
Smoke Inn throwbacks,
right? It's crazy.
I mean, if you think about it, like even in American kind of culture, right? The Camaro goes back to the old style. The Challenger goes back to old style. The Bronco looks like the old way it did. Like people just love feeling like that. Oh, not okay, the Voyage is not on the level of any of those things. But what I mean is like no, we want the original kind of feel. Oh yeah, that's I would wear that. Just because it's different than just it makes you feel like an OG. My favorite.
It's a nostalgic thing.
Yeah, I have a Devil Rays jersey, a Fred McGriff autographed Devil Rays jersey that I love, and I love the new stuff. But man, when I wear that Devil Rays jersey, I get compliments and comments all the time. So I am, I'm conscious of how the cigar secondary market kind of works. I'm conscious of how the Facebook groups and things work. So I'm like, well, how do I differentiate? The originals from now and stuff like that. So we're gonna just come out with different sizes. Thanks, Mark. That's my man right there too. We'll have different sizes to just kind of differentiate the original from this release. But even then, when I sit back, I'm like, man, I really fell in love with that design and the box that came in and stuff like, why have I changed? So that'll stay the same, and then I'll probably evolve with the other products that I'm coming, and then maybe in the future, if all of America that's listening, lets me change the box, then maybe I will. But if not, fuck it. It's a great looking, cheap, quality box. So keep it.
Where's the name Baracoa come from?
So what's funny with when it started originally, it was me and a buddy that had started the company, and he's from Cuba, and he has family from Baracoa, Cuba, which is on the east coast of Cuba. It was actually the original capital of Cuba. And it was the first place Columbus landed when he got there. So like if you look at his journals, there's a Mesa Mountain in the background that he kind of draws out. So if you look back at the Voyage logo, one of those medallions that's in there is actually oh shit, man, I sent you the old one. But you see the star on the left? Typically the star on the left is this was actually changed after what I sent you there, is the Mesa Mountain from Baracoa, Cuba. So that was it, and I liked it, and it kind of ties in the whole theme of the voyage and traveling and exploring and things like that, right? So when I was here thinking it was a Mexican dance, no, so not to be confused with Baracoa from like Chipotle or something. It is. There's no B in it.
So the cigars are in production now. When can people get their hands on them?
Again, we're looking at the 3rd or 4th week of January for that stuff. So that that'll be about 3 months of aging there. We've gotten like the second round of samples that have gone. I think it's perfect. It's done. Let's just let them age a little longer. And they'll continue to age until the boxes are ready. Also, fucking box guy. So anyway, actually he's a good guy. Yeah, so we're looking at third or fourth week of January, and what's really cool is I was hit up a lot about, hey, we want the first event either, in this certain area, we want to do the first launch event or the relaunch event, and I was like holy shit, oh hey, there's only one of me, and let's figure it out. So I kind of went in order, like the first person to ask, which was he was a huge supporter at the beginning, and is continued support. And I'm going to wait till we dot the T's and cross the I's to kind of announce where that's going to be. But, he kind of got the nod to do it with him. So I'm excited for that. And, the idea is to kind of go back to these accounts that were originally with me that I brought with me to RoMa or were also with RoMa. And then also all the stores that I'd met over the last 3 years. And work with them over the last 3 years, and hey, there's a lot of things that RoMa Craft does right, and there's a lot of things that I helped do and develop and run for 3 years. So there's a lot of that stuff that I want to bring over, and I'm super transparent, right? And I'd be lying if I said I didn't learn a lot that I'm going to use now as far as how to run things and efficiencies and things like that, right? So
I want to ask a question, and look, if you can't answer, I completely understand. I'm just curious because it's very common in this industry, especially guys at your level. You didn't have a non-compete working for RoMa?
I did not. And what's funny about that is Skip's kind of opinion of a non-compete is it's kind of all bullshit anyway, right? It's
agreed.
It's not super. It's not super hard to get out of, but it's also it's kind of but here's the thing. Let's say Skip makes me sign a non-compete, right? Or RoMa Craft makes sign, because we forget about Mike Rosales. Everybody talks about.
Why does everybody always forget about Mike Rosales?
What's that?
Why does everyone always forget about Mike Rosales?
He's just not as active, I think.
Right?
He gets a lot of interaction in the stores and people.
Somebody asked that in the comments. Why does everybody always forget Mike Rosales?
I saw Ronnie say that, but I don't think it's anybody that forgets him. It's just he doesn't set himself up to kind of be a target for anything, right? He's very hey, that's not my thing, right? So he commented on social media. So the one with the target on him is Skip. But yeah, I mean, if they made me sign a non-compete, then they would kind of be admitting hey, if you left us, you could be competition for us, right? But the truth is I'm not going to be competition from RoMa, right? They're right now anyway, right? And there's only certain shelf space, and there's only certain amount of money that a store has, and this and that. But yeah, listen, they're on another level, and there's a lot of guys on that level, and yeah, that's the vision. Not necessarily the vision to be RoMa, but the vision to get to that amount of cigars or half as many cigars here in the next, I don't know 5 years or something. That'd be great. No, so yeah, there was no non-compete. And again, talking back about Skip, if I said, hey, Skip, I know I signed that non-compete, but this is really what I want to do, and I'm passionate about the industry. It's just Skip isn't like that. He'd be like, dude, whatever, man, I don't give a fuck, right? I just know him, right? So Skip is actually a really good-hearted dude.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of non-competes, everybody knows that they're BS, and whenever taken to court, what judge is gonna tell you that you can't feed your family with the only industry that you've ever known, the only business that you've ever known? So in my business, we deal with it a lot, and I've never seen somebody win a case against a non-compete. So they don't hold up. But all right, so hopefully end of January they'll start shipping. People can get them, and hoping to see more blends from that point. Correct? That's the idea. You're already working on other.
Yeah. So right. So what I want to do is create little more. I don't want it can't be a flash in the pan. One-off type of company. I'm really looking to build this as a company. So I understand that, real estate and shelf space in a humidor is important. That footprint that you have in there will attract people. If I only have 2 or 3, facings in a sea of cigars, it'll get lost, right? But if I can get up to 9, 12 facings, 15 facings, at some point in, hopefully in the future, whatever, however it kind of develops, that gives you a real footprint in the humidor and allows people to kind of be attracted to the section that you're at, right? And that's really the competition part. There's a ton of really, really good cigars out there. It's just how do you get someone to come and try yours, the first time, but then, at that point, it's the cigar that's going to make them come back the second time. And that's really what I want to focus on. I'm not a really good sales guy. I'm really, really not. I'm a better, just like relationship building kind of person. So that's kind of the idea, is like, I'm going to help my retailers, sell this, understand, we'll do events, we'll do virtual events for now, however we got to do it. And I don't want to have to sell the product to them. I want them to want to buy the product, right? If that makes any sense. So that's what we're working on. And listen, that's very tricky, right? There's no exact science to that. And it doesn't work for every store. It doesn't work for every account. But I feel, my belief is that the accounts that I've become tight with, or the people that I know in the industry, and that I know that I can lean on, know that they can lean on me for support and whatever they would need, and that I'm not going to bullshit them with some bullshit story about the cigar or whatever.
So I got 2 questions for you before we bring Coop on here. One is, have you opened accounts already?
Yeah, so immediately after I left, hey, if you're going to do it, I was getting calls. It was just super humbling. Wherever you're going next, we're buying. If it's you, if you're my rep, if you, whatever, we're buying, whatever it is, my number. And I was like, wow, thank you so much. That means a lot. Even if he ends up not doing it, but the fact that you call, reach out, send me a text or a message or whatever, just to say that, or take your time to say that, like, man, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, literally this week, because I started getting messages like, hey, I have, when can we sign the paperwork? Like, what are we doing? So I'm like, okay. So I started literally between yesterday and the day before, today's Saturday. Yeah, so Thursday, Friday, I was sending the account application and order form and price sheet. And I've gotten them back with orders. So it's worked out. I don't know if I'm frozen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you froze. We heard you.
Okay, so that's really cool. And then there was this group, this handful of stores that don't talk to each other, but hey, we really want to help you succeed. What do you need from us? I'm like, patience, I guess. I mean, what am I going to do for you? And they're like, hey, here's my order. We'd love to pay now to help you. I'm like, I really felt uneasy about that, because hey, what if, I don't know, the Dominican Republic sinks underwater and there's no cigars ever again? I don't know. But then kind of the pressure started building from them, like, hey, we really want to help you support. So we've opened up those guys first. We haven't taken anybody's money yet, but the fact that these guys are willing to do that already, it's. I mean, I keep using the word humbling because I don't really have a better word, but I mean, that's really what it is for me. And
yeah, that's amazing.
See these guys wanting to help and watch me succeed is dope, man.
So my second question is, will your company be following a traditional model of, producing cigars and keeping inventory, or will you be from the RoMa Craft school of producing product based on orders?
No. So, that's kind of the point of this echoey ass warehouse, is to, have product in stock at all times.
Nice.
That's the other thing with Ventura. With this new factory, they can get up to 2 million cigars, right? So, and looking at who they produce for and things like that, Henderson was, I told him, kind of my goals for the first 12 months or for year one. And he's like, yeah, we won't have any we won't have any problem, keeping up with production for you. And because I was dealing with him directly, and listen, again, because of the stuff I learned from La Aurora, I know, although Henderson is a great guy, he's really fun, really, really cool dude, I know I still have to stay on top of him. Like, hey, don't forget, me, we're doing this. And listen, I'm also not an idiot. Like, I'm not going to go make a Connecticut broadleaf tomorrow, right? Because it's like, one, everybody has it, but it's super hard, and that's kind of like where the problem is. So as long as I'm making cigars that have tobacco that's readily available, it's it. I'm not necessarily looking to do these one-off things that kind of disappear after. Do I love the limited edition kind of market and all that stuff and the really cool collaborations and stuff like that for one-off projects? I love that stuff, but only if it's based on a company that has ongoing product, and then every once in a while these one-offs. And not just like variations of like the Voyage, right? Like actual true different blends, one-offs, different packaging, like that box for your Saka collaboration. I think that's dope, man. Right? It's just very different. It's you just things like that. Guys eat that up and love to collect that stuff because you could maybe never see that again. Just to be able to say, hey, I have that.
Thank you.
That was my life. I mean, that's the other thing. A lot of people don't realize where I came from. There's a Facebook page called Cigar Cartel. It's about 35,000 plus members or whatever. I don't know how many are actually active, but whatever. I was there when it was like under 4,000 members, and I kind of built my like little name on there doing bombs and giving stuff away. And back when you could do raffles and stuff on Facebook, and we would do all these things, and that was kind of my origin into. Thinking maybe I could sell cigars, and it was really fun. So, I love doing all the one-off stuff that's kind of here and then gone, if it's in tandem with a sustainable company that will have product at all times, right? So, now obviously, as the company grows and I can make more money, then that number actually becomes easier to do. As I'm smaller, will I maybe get back orders on something or a certain size? Sure. I mean, it happens to everybody, but the kind of the deal that I have with Ventura, it should completely work out, man. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, listen, we wish you the best of luck. I see a lot of potential success there for you. So good luck on this new journey of yours. It should be fun, and I wish you great success upon you.
I thank you. I appreciate it, and I mean that's what it is. Just making sure we're building something every day and moving forward.
Good stuff. Well, don't go anywhere, Danny. We're gonna bring in our contributor, the number one KMA contributor, our man, William Cooper. Rumor free, teaser free. That's my man.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Oh, jeez.
Birthday, Coop.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, bro.
Hey, Danny, good to hear you. Thank you very much.
For your birthday, I'm gonna buy you new Wi-Fi.
Oh, it's terrible.
He hasn't fixed it.
Well, we're struggling. I just had an argument with my son about switching providers about 10 minutes before I came on here, and he's fighting me. So yeah.
How old are you now?
Who?
53.
God bless.
Thank you.
So I want to, before Coop gets into the news, I want to bring up an interesting point because Paul has a non-compete, so of course he's whining and Listen, a good non-compete is designed not to keep people from earning or making a living. It's designed not to make use of any proprietary information or stuff that they benefited from their employer to go on to their next thing. And written well, it can be upheld because Coop made a comment during the thing about Sam Lucia.
Oh, yeah. And he'll be very open to tell you that kept him out of work for 2 years and really, really hurt him.
Coop, if you can lower your volume a touch, I don't know if you have control on that. You're a little loud. But so did they take it to court though? Is the question, because people are just afraid of it.
They upheld it. In fact, Sam Lucia for folks who may not remember, he was working. He had worked for Oliva Cigars for a long time, and he parted ways with Oliva and was going to start his own cigar company. He was going to go into the 2011 IPCPR trade show and exhibit, and they got an injunction against him, prevent him from actually exhibiting at that trade show. So yeah, this was enforced, and I think the thing was actually settled at court. Wasn't 2 years later.
Okay, I mean, listen, there are instances of it, but
if you write a non-compete maliciously and unreasonably, it does not get held up usually. But there's proper ways into which to write them. If you want somebody to go out and not make money, you also have to compensate them. It's usually part of a non-compete. There's a compensation thing of a non-compete. So there are ways to write it. But it happens. So kudos to Danny that he didn't have one. Good on you.
Yeah, the other thing about non-competes is you can redline them. Doesn't mean that you'll get your red lines, but take a shot and redline them. If you're not happy with something in it, read them and redline it. I can tell you from personal experience, I've done that. On certain
I wish I would have talked to you 6 years ago, Coop.
I'm not saying some companies are going to say no way, but
but it's negotiable like any other contract.
Yeah, it's exactly. People just think have to sign it, and that's not the case. And I'm amazed how many of these exist in the cigar industry, being as small as it is, and I don't know if anyone's ever tried to redline it.
I mean,
or you just do like Danny and don't have one.
Don't have one.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. I also, like to think myself as a trustworthy person anyway. I mean, I didn't take anything proprietary. And if anything, let's say I'm going to take, RoMa's accounts. RoMa's accounts are on their website, right? So it's not like, right. So
listen, those kind of things aren't for the ethical people.
Right. 100%.
Nobody designs those for the ethical people. It's the other one. So, Coop, what is the scoop this week?
Yeah, it was a light week, but there were some news items. The first thing is coming out of Lost and Found Cigars, and Lost and Found Cigars is a company owned by Robert Colwell, Tony Bellato, and what they do is they typically go into the factories.
Is Tony Bellato like the Mike Rosales of Caldwell Cigar?
I don't know that he's like Robert Jr. I don't know.
That's what everybody in the industry calls them because they dress the same, I guess.
They dress the same, yeah.
I don't know.
But the funny thing is,
the Robert Caldwell, he was looking like he was on a Green Acres farm.
Well, at least Robert lives in Florida. He lives down in Miami. Tony lives in Ohio. I don't know. How does he keep his shirt open all the way down to his belly button in Ohio? It's like 10 degrees there.
Right? I tell you. Yeah. So, yeah.
Should I ask this, or should I keep going to see how far it goes?
Keep going. Randy Bush will be proud.
It's going to land on my keyboard. I just know it.
So but Lost and Found Cigars, they buy up these cigars from the factories, they put some nice packaging on them, and they resell them. They've been doing this for a few years, but this year they've been focusing on charitable releases, and they've been releasing these cigars, donating proceeds to various charities. They've come out with one for the Christmas season called the Lost and Found Chance, and this one is to support Toys for Tots. So they're saying that for every 10 pack you buy, it will go towards a purchase of a new toy, child in need. The cigar itself is a 5x50 Robusto with a Nicaraguan Habano binder, Nicaraguan Habano wrapper, Sumatra binder, and Nicaraguan fillers, as well as Dominican fillers. So those should start hitting the stores very, very soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
I kind of like that about Robert's program, right? Because there are a lot of guys in the industry who do that. Will buy stuff and rename it and make it. Robert's just out now. This is what we do. We find cigars lying around, we repackage it, we rebrand it, and it's lost and found. I just always thought that was awesome. They're just so open and upfront about it.
He wasn't the first to do it, but he was the first to build a brand around it, and a lot of people now started doing that after he did it. And if you look at a lot of companies, some of their event cigars and things like that, you can kind of see that that's what they're doing with that as well. But Robert kind of made it cool to do that about 6 years ago.
Yep, he did. What else you got, Coop?
No surprise here. Pro Cigar 2021 is canceled due to COVID. So they've canceled it for February. They haven't said if they're going to reschedule it or not. That's something to be determined, I guess. But with that, it's going to cancel all the February cigar festivals, which is Pro Sabor in Nicaragua. Last week we talked about the Habanos Festival in Cuba canceled, and now Pro Cigar in the Dominican Republic has been canceled.
You know what February of Cigar Festival hasn't got canceled?
Great Smoke.
The Great Smoke. That's right.
Yeah.
Paul, look at you. You get a point for being on.
Yeah, he was ready to go.
Nicely done. You weren't even prepped for that.
I almost played the commercial. I was like, oh crap! Wait, hold on.
Nicely done, Paul. Nicely done.
Yeah, we talked to Mike Herc last Thursday night on the show. He seems pumped to do this. Let me tell you. So
I'm going to tell
you, that interview was awesome. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I have it saved for later. But really, really, really good interview with Michael.
Thank you.
Michael's a great interview to start with, but you asked him some cool questions that I don't think I would have thought of as the producer here, because you're better than me, as we all know.
Absolutely.
But it was a cool.
We held off
into
interviewing Michael. We held off on interviewing Michael until he was out of Nat Sherman, for a reason, because we think at that point he could probably be the most candid. And he didn't throw anyone under the bus or anything, but he could be the most candid once he was done, is what we felt. So that's why we kind of held off on an interview with him.
When I try to get you to throw somebody under the bus, though, they will try. I promise.
When I was thinking of people to co-host, because look, this is an 8-hour broadcast, no commercial break. There's 60 live people in a room, and there's no way this can be done just by myself. So when I was thinking about who I could get to co-host, honestly, Michael was my first choice. And when he said he'd do it and he got all excited about it, I was honored and I was elated. I think he's going to enhance the whole Great Smoke experience. He brings another level of legitimacy. And there'll be a press release next week, maybe just an announcement. We'll make sure we get it to you first, Coop. But we're going to announce 2 more co-hosts next week.
Nice.
Oh, wow. So you and I should definitely talk, too, because we were talking about doing something. Yeah, we should definitely talk on it. That's awesome to hear. So
Yeah. We're trying to bring all aspects of this industry all involved in this as much as we can.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So
what else is going on, Coop?
Another release that's come out, Warp Cigars has a line called Maestro del Tiempo. It's a line that comes out of the Top Step factory in Nicaragua. But there's a limited release they've had in there. It's called the 6102R. The 6102R. And the difference with that release is it's got the Medio Tiempo, which is the very high priming tobacco. They haven't released that one in 4 years. This week they announced they're shipping that to retailers. So it's the first time, and that's one of the more sought after Warp cigars over the years because they only released it once at Medio Tiempo. So that should be in stores this month.
Do you feel that it's still even a relevant brand in the industry?
I think they're still I think they still have a following.
Anybody can have a cult little group following.
Right.
But does he really have any relevancy anymore?
I would say he does, just from the traffic that I see on Cigar Coop would. Okay. That articles get read, that that there people do care. He's got this drop program, which is a direct-to-consumer program, and he's got a lot of members in that too. So I think he does have some relevance. Has he lost a little steam from where he was 2 or 3 years ago? No, I think he's lost a little bit of that over the past few years, for sure.
Anything else you got going on, Coop?
Yeah, this story is an interesting one. This one comes from our folks at Halfville. Meat Lovers Club Box Press edition coming out.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an hour. I started this at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna. I know I'm.
I busted Abe about this one. Yes. I read about it on Halfwheel. I'm like. But
wait. Hold on, wait. We didn't make a press release. All they did was take all of Saka's posts and they made a story out of it.
I was, and actually, in fairness, Saka didn't mention the cigar on the show, so I didn't know it was coming. But yeah, it was fun. I go, hey, yeah, what's this? He's like, I put these question marks. He's like, what are these question marks? I'm like, I'm asking you. Where did this picture come from? Did I miss something?
Yeah. My ash is getting Peyronie's disease, though.
Yeah. I'm really excited about that cigar. It's,
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't lie. I haven't had a one of the original sizes in a while now. But I'm loving this cigar.
Yeah.
This is This is producing so much smoke every puff, and the flavor and the shape and the feel of it in my mouth. I'm actually enjoying this better than the original. This is going to be. I think it's going to be epically received by people.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you that the guy I do the music show with, Dave Burke, he lives in Australia. I sent him a couple. When you put them back on sale, the last time I bought him a bundle to ship them to Australia. He was in love with that. We were both in love with the cigars. It's a fantastic blend. Steve did a great job on that blend.
Well, when we were sitting here with Evan Darnell, and we were because we knew we wanted to do a new Vitola this year.
Yeah.
And he had brought a bunch of them in, and I think I still got a couple of the prototypes in the case behind me. But when we tried the box press one, not only do we like the look and the feel, how it was going to be, and that's why I came up with the making our own packaging for the meat box.
I like that.
Yeah, for the meat box press cigar. But I actually think it's smoked differently than the round ones. I don't know if you were in the room when we did the tasting, Alex, or not.
No, I wasn't.
For this one, you think you were in West Palm still back then, but I think we all of us agreed. I mean, Evan and a couple guys who work here and myself, that it actually tasted better than the other ones. That's why we went with the size.
Nice.
Yeah, box pressing will change things. I mean, a great example of some of the Espinozo lines that they've come box pressed and not box pressed. You see some of the differences with it, and it will definitely make a difference. So, for sure. And Steve hasn't done a lot of box press outside of Sin Compromiso. I think he's done a couple, maybe one-offs, but he hasn't done a lot of box pressing with his lines.
Anything else you got going on this week, Coop?
We're doing the Cigar of the Year countdown that started, so that will continue throughout the week, throughout the month of December. So stay tuned for the unveiling each day.
When does that start? This week?
It started yesterday.
It
started yesterday. La Aurora 107 Sec made it with the cigar. I think a lot of people did not pay attention to this year. It was a really good cigar.
Interesting. Well, Coop, we'll look forward to keeping an eye on that list, see how it goes.
Yep.
I have my weekly sports question for Coop.
Shoot.
Oh, there we go.
All right, Coop. So I'm going to leave alone after last week's debacle. We have a real big-time fight tonight. Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. Long Island boy versus Philly boy. Who you got?
I got Errol Spence.
Yeah, I do too.
I do too. I think it's great. This is going to be a great fight.
It's going to be a good fight. I'm supposed to be biased to Danny. He's a Philly boy.
I'm a Danny. Yeah, me too. Same thing.
I like Danny, but Danny's just one of those fighters that he doesn't do anything great, but he does everything good. I think Spence is just going to overwhelm him, and he's going to be too much for Danny. We'll see. Probably unanimous decision. So we're in agreement.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you? A quick question back for you. What was your assessment on the Tyson fight?
He's a Debbie Downer. He's a Debbie Downer.
It was
But wait, the official results. It ended in a draw.
There was no official result.
There was no official result, really.
Probably preconceived result was that it was a draw. So
the production was awful. The TV production
was awful. It really was. I mean, it didn't even look like a real fight.
Do you think the production was awful, or do you just think it just looked unnatural because there was no crowd?
No, not just that, because they've had a lot of fights on, none of the fights have had crowds, but they've done a good job. Just the way the camera angles, it wasn't shot like a regular fight. And, let's be honest, the bigger story that came out of that was poor Nate Robinson getting clobbered to death almost.
Stick to the NBA, buddy. Woo.
Yeah, you don't play boxing, they say.
That was more embarrassing having an undercard like that, though. That kind of made this more circus. I could have allowed this a legitimate undercard than that as the fight before the Tyson fight.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to see. I don't want. I saw Tyson come back once. I don't know if I want to see it again. I don't want to see him fight Holyfield. No, I don't want to see that. There was one. I had to see Tyson one more time, which is what I wanted to do.
You know what I want from Tyson is that, and we talk about this with me and my friends in other podcasts. Is like, hey, would you step in the ring with Tyson, right? So I would love to see a show of all these fucking guys that get drunk at a bar and say, yeah, I'd fucking get in a ring with Tyson, and then Tyson just gets all the TV money, and then these guys sign a waiver, and the show will pay for whatever hospital things for the guy. And the guy gets to step in and fight 50-year-old Tyson, right? Which, listen, yeah, it was a terrible fight, but Mike Tyson would whoop my ass. And most of us.
How about if you could finish a round, they give you $10,000.
Exactly. No, 100. Exactly. Every round goes up. Round 2.
I don't think anybody's making it past the round. Unless
exactly. Yeah. Round 3 is $10 million because guess what? You're not getting it, right? So it's like. And then, dude, that'd be an awesome show.
Yeah, to Tyson's credit, I mean, he looked pretty good for his age. Roy Jones.
Let me tell you something. He threw some punches. I'm telling you, man, had those connected, I mean, Roy Jones Jr. is lucky he still had a little speed on him because I saw some really hard throws by him. Like, it didn't look like Mike was holding back.
Yeah, no. He looked okay for him, but, I still think even if you threw Mike in the ring against a guy like Shannon Briggs right now, who's 48, he's close to age. Shannon Briggs would utterly.
I agree.
But no, he looked much better than Roy Jones did, who was just there kind of to hold on for 8 rounds and not get killed.
Yeah.
Well, it's because Roy Jones saw those same videos of Tyson working out that we all saw, and he's like, man, I gotta just stay alive because this guy.
Roy didn't look as tight as Mike.
Not even close. He's had a rough life. Yeah. And Tyson got super fat, right? And then just took the last year or whatever, and he is shredded. So I think he was just like, hey, I'm here. I'll pay $1 million back if, Mike kind of takes it easy because I thought this was a charity thing. Relax, man.
Look at that interview afterwards. Like, they're asking Roy, would you do this again? And Roy's like, basically wants to say no. He's like, I'm done. Right. And then they ask Tyson, are you satisfied with it? Yeah, I'm satisfied with the draw. I'm like, really?
All right.
Yeah, of course he's satisfied. He made $10 million.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't had a chance to proof this, but let's see who belongs in a cigar insane asylum. This week's inductee really learned that crime doesn't pay. A passenger of a stolen car tried to make a clean getaway in Sussex. After the police ensued and stopped the car, he ended up neck deep in even more trouble. After successfully fleeing the car, the man raced into a field hoping to evade the police. Unfortunately, he ended up neck deep in something else. The man got stuck in a slurry of mud and cow poo up to his neck. Police had to rescue the man before cuffing him, completely covered in cow manure. How do you get stuck in cow manure up to your neck?
That's a good question.
Yeah, he definitely didn't come out smelling like roses. Congratulations, Mr. Carpoo Man. You are this week's inductee to the Cigar Insane Asylum. Great story, Paul.
Here, Paul was ready with it. There wasn't much going on this week.
Great story.
Listen, people are staying in their houses. COVID numbers are higher than ever. Nobody's going out and doing stupid shit. I don't know why. There's no stories, and I like to pick new stories, at least from the last month. There's nothing going on that's not COVID related, that's not, politically motivated. The big stories out there are when Trump this week, I don't know if you saw the clip, stopped a reporter and he said, "Don't talk to me like that. Don't you ever talk to the president. I'm the president of the United States. Don't you ever talk to a president of the United States like that." That was the big news out there.
Yeah, well,
so
that wasn't great either.
It was light news.
Before we go, I did promise I'd make a shameless plug. If any of our listeners are in the South Florida area, we will be showing the fight live tonight at Smoke Inn Boynton Beach. We'll have the giant jumbo screen outside. Is
it just here, Alex?
Yeah, it's just here at Boynton Beach. We kind of like the jumbo screen outside is really nice. And as always at Smoke Inn, there's no cover for the fight.
Yeah. It's like, what, 30 feet?
Yes, I mean, it's big, man, and it's nice. Even if you're not really a fight fan, just the whole thing to be outside and watching on the jumbo screen, man, It's really nice. It's a good time.
And it's going to be nice out tonight, too, so
yes.
it'll be a perfect night
for it.
Well,
Danny, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Best of luck. We'll follow up with you in the near future and see how things are rolling.
For sure.
Coop, my man, have a great birthday, buddy. We love you.
Thank you very much, guys. Yep.
Thanks as always for your contribution.
Happy birthday, Coop.
Next week, we have Nick Melillo of Foundation Cigars. Should be an interesting interview. Also, don't forget, December 9th, noon, Eastern Standard Time. These go live. Totally worth it. Look at that. It still won't fall. Look at that.
Randy
That's a Saka thing, man. His cigars always do that.
I never do this because then it becomes about keeping the ash instead of enjoying
more
the
than the cigar. Absolutely, it becomes a
I
job.
never do this, but I got started and then I got Randy Bush-eyed. I got Ash King-eyed, and I'm trying to see how long I can get this thing going. And after next week will be our last show of 2020. Thank God, 2020 will be over, and we got something extraordinarily planned. I don't think it's ever been done before. I'll check with Coop later, but our last show of the year is going to be a very, very unique show in typical Honest Abe style. We're going to do something I don't think it's ever been done in the cigar industry before. So
and that'll be on the 19th, correct?
That'll be on the 19th. Everybody else have a
It's
great
terrifying.
weekend. Have a great weekend and keep it lit. Peace.